there's not much. There's just a little bit of annoying. When you really see, I just have a little bit of annoying thing. But I've made it same thing, swap out my iris all day long, and have a new eye. So the nice thing would be is after we get done with this, finally, it would be nice if we just all kind of like threw our stuff, our assets into one spot, because then we all have them. Because really, that's a wonderful benefit to all of us. Now, another reason why I chose making you make this head, and it just made for those some of you that are a little annoyed, and maybe all of you are really annoyed, but I'm giving you really two wonderful gifts. And the thing is when you have a head and you have the eyes, there's almost every character I'll ever make will have eyes. And you swap out the iris with it, you model it, and then it's the new eye for whatever that creature is. So it's a wonderful benefit. Now you have it. Now you have your own too. And so that's awesome. And then the head, most of the time, can be tweaked into any beast. And so then you have these wonderful starting points. And you have the skin shader. That's such solid bag of nugget right there that that's the peak of my career. It's like getting all that together. Okay, and those are the most valuable things I ever came from. I'm trying to dig up. I have this bag of old. It was creature creating alphas. Okay. And I have them since 6, 7 years, maybe 8 years ago. They're stamps for brushes, and they essentially speed up your modeling tenfold for creatures because it's all scales, all types of skins, all these samples already prepared. So I'm trying to find that for you guys, and that'll be a present because the use costs a lot of money. Now I don't even know where they're at, but I still have them somewhere. And wow, did they make a massive difference? You know, like Old Person in the crow's feet and all that? They have all kinds of collection of that. So you just go in the mud box, which we're going to be getting to. You stamp it in, and then bam, model. And so eventually we'll get there. So this is where we're at for now, and I'm going to show you. All I did is I searched the internet for eye. I did the large filter. I wonder if I'm going to connect. I don't know if I have. Didn't do this last time. Any suggestions here?
Guest is easier.
Guest.
Open a site.
What's that?
Just open anything and click agree.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna say I, and it should want me to say.
You actually have to open the browser. It will take you right to the page after you connect it.
Go to somewhere in the address bar, just finish connecting. It will still identify. This page is built in. You have to go to a site.
It requires similar to mine. Like if I push something to the other day,
Oh, eval. Will that do this? Will search result get me to the DHCP thing?
Maybe.
The computer's registered with MSU.
where register, you can just do the regular one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've had problems all summer long with this crap though. Like it only worked on guest 3. I don't know if you guys have access to guest 3, but I have access to guest 3. Yay, okay. So I discussed filter for large, okay? And just like what the guy's saying in that too, is that this is awesome iris if I had the whole iris because the highlight's in the center. Because we have to eliminate, just like with the skin texture, you don't want shadows, you don't want highlights. Because they'll show up in the render and then you get real ones and fake ones. And it's good to keep it because you can judge specularity and glossiness and the actual texture. One thing about tutorials is the problem with it is sometimes I don't think that I'm teaching the critical thinking. You get the process, but sometimes you don't know why you're doing those things or what you're really looking at. And so there will be times when we're going to, I may even just say, hey, we break this picture down and really tell me, as a test, again, I'm testing you all the time. So I'll be testing you at other ways just to see what your observation is. How deep can you look and break down an image of what's there? But I'm not testing you yet. Okay, so I went around looking for, locking up. So I veins, and it's got the eyeball. That's pretty cool. So I want, if you want to follow along, now would be, it'd be good to get them. If you don't, you can watch. What's that? Yeah. Try to get the highlight right in the middle of the iris, because then you don't have to deal with what I'm going to do up here. Okay, well this one, not so bad. So I've got to rebuild some tissue in here. And I mean, I know I asked you guys how well you know Photoshop, but I'm still going to, whatever. You don't have to pay attention if you really feel you know this stuff. But either way, so I'm going to copy that. I've already done this before, but I'm just going to rebuild it. That's the same iris I use. But there's some things about it. The guidance tutorial is pretty interesting about how it uses the ramp to unwrap, which is fascinating because that's one benefit of the way that the nerves work. The nerves they use projection rather than UV coordinates, which is interesting. And I've always been a big poly fan. It does everything I ever needed to do. It's much more intuitive for me, but I have a friend that works for Nickelodeon who just raves about and so I'm entertaining him for a minute because he's got a workflow. And so he raved about V-Ray as well, so we won't get to use that. Because V-Ray looks for specific areas of detail and only concentrates the high render for that spot instead of treating the whole image the same, so it speeds up production and takes time. So just so if you guys happen to get your hands on V-Ray, you may consider that. So I pasted it in. Now, things that I'm going to observe here right away is just how reflective this eye is. It's not a mirror, okay, but it's pretty damn reflective. But maybe when you first start setting things, you may set it higher than it is. I had that tendency in the beginning. Now, here's the thing, and I mean, you can't judge it from one image either. Try to look at as many images as you can. It's kind of like when you're researching any theory. Theories have a tendency to be one-sided or at least studied, and it's good to look at all images. Same when you're researching everything. So it's good to look at as many images as you can, because some days we're oilier than other days. So it's about learning about the body. I guess what I really love about 3D is it's amazing how much I learn about reality from it. Because you really break it down. You really start to break it down of what makes something the way it is. So as I'm looking through here, I was really looking at this thinking, that was the bump texture. That was the actual bump surface of the eye, and it isn't. It's reflecting the edge of the eyelid. That's the texture of the edge of the eyelid, and you see it reflected over here. And what pointed that out to me is, as I was working on this, I was like, well, where the hell are these lines from? It's reflecting the hair. You'll start to see the hairs. It's that reflected. So that's pretty interesting. And this is telling about how big that spectral highlight is, how glossy it is, So that's fascinating. It would be amazing. This guy, the tutorial for this eye does not, you don't model the back lens. You don't do that. You kind of just put the sphere there and put the blend with absolutely no specularity. Which is fine for most things. But if you ever really want to make a real eye, it would be great. You ever see these renders? Let's see if I'll bring them up some point. Next class I'll show you. Where they literally did bad lighting. As if someone walked in with a flash and went, pow, and it blew everything out in a way that a bad photograph is, right? Not like a professional, like a point and shoot. If there's something, you ever see where Blair Witch Project is? Or anyhow, it's the point of seeing an HD cam or movie film quality versus a handy cam. One just screams of reality, and the other one is like a movie. Okay? It's suspension of this. It takes you into more dreamy, it's softer. Well, there's something about nailing this other considered bad look that makes you believe it's even more real. Because the more you make it look like film, the more obvious we know it's the camera. But the more you make it look like a bad photograph, it's amazing. And you're like, oh, that's pretty real. Because it looks like it got popped a flash on it. And the renders that I saw that were just mind-blowing on how it was really hard to tell the difference was interior shots of this guy that I know does architectural rendering. they just look like real photographs and someone went in and shot it in really bad lighting. Well, with this approach, with that blend shader in the back, you're never going to get an eye that looks like a real eye. Because real eye, as you know, when you pop a light on somebody or a deer, you see that reflect back at you in the middle of the night. So a great challenge someday, not right now, would be, I would really love to make a real eye. But the caves look a real eye, so when I put light into it, I get that reflective color out. But right now, the eye that we make doesn't do that. Okay? Or that you're working on. So this does have a subtle disruption in the reflection. It isn't perfectly smooth, but I'm going to tell you what, it's going to be smoother here than it is in the cellular area where all of the veins and whatnot are. So keep that in mind when you're working on it, and he points that out as build your specular map. So what I'm going to do is I'm just working on the iris for now, and I'm going to try to make that so that I can just separate it for the iris. Now, I do something a little bit different than the way that they build their texture too, because I'm a little, again, I'm loose. I build a process that allows a couple mistakes. And what I mean is in their eyeball texture, he doesn't leave the iris in for when it's the eyeball texture. I do. The reason why I do that is because when I get to that seam, I got a little bit of iris that blends in with the background iris. And it just helps my edges a little bit. You may master it, but you'll notice it's soft here. It starts to soften. Alright? That edge. And that happens, you can soften that with a ramp, but I just kind of build a backup plan. So I'm just going to center that, and I'm going to go pull this and zoom. Ooh, don't want that. Ooh. You want to drive yourself crazy, be in PC mode with a Mac keyboard. Alright, so I know I've got to fix this. I've got to fix everywhere there's a highlight, everywhere there's overlap and shadow. And so my best areas are these chunks. Alright, so I got to fix this too. And so I'm just going to come in here. I use the lasso tool. And, again, what's weird is this is not perfectly spherical. This is not a perfect circle. It's kind of wobbly.
It's like a lemon.
It kind of is, right? It's kind of odd on how it pinches a little bit here. And I don't know if that's distortion or what, but I still work with it. Because it doesn't matter. I just move those verts in the 3D program and line them up, right? And so it's like I correct it. It's never a problem. As long as you know the two methods of working with it. So I'm going to copy and paste that. And I'm going to move that over. And I want to get rid of that. That's like an obvious landmark. Will you probably see it most of the time? I don't really ever zoom in on an eye when I'm doing a lot of 3D. Usually it's a safe distance where you don't ever see things. You know what? I still don't mind making it as good as I can. Especially when we share it. So, I just look in this area. That looks decent. Maybe it could be scaled a little bit. Because really all I'm looking to cover up is some of these areas. It's great all in here. So I don't want any repeat. So I want to save the best of what I have. And eraser E, I want to have a soft edge. That's totally soft. And I'm going to come in and just slowly work at it. I see a little bit of repeat there. I don't know what I've gotten in there, so that's what I'm really focused on correcting. So, again, I try to respect as much as what was originally there to break it down. Bummer, it's a lot of that really looking and doesn't really matter. Okay, I could sample again to keep more of the randomness happening, so I guess I'll do that. But eventually I just reuse things. You'll see that with the veins. I just reuse the veins. I didn't really try to get as detailed to make a unique vein. And I mean, the dynamic simulating engine on it, but it's so demanding that for most things, unless I'm focused on the hair, I'm not going to just do that. Same with this eye. Is it about the eye? If it's about the eye, then spend as much freaking time as you can putting all of the key details in. But if it isn't, you can budget a little bit. So maybe I'll grab them over here. Paste, bring that over. Same kind of deal. Now, never are any of these eyes that you're going to get actually shot perfectly straight on. And that's another thing that tutorial goes over is correcting them. And see, look how much larger that piece is, than this top part. But I'm going to work with it. The most key thing is just make sure that those striations are moving in the same direction, ultimately. I mean, they look somewhat natural. Again, more mozzarella-like over here, but really, the more I build on it, the less problematic that is. Let me shrink it just a little bit more. Now, I'm trying to reconstruct a little bit of this area, so that's why you see me kind of doing that. I'm not as concerned because I want this edge. This is perfection right through here, and so. And so I continue down that path. I guess maybe I won't sit here and just spend all that time. What I'll do now is work on how I'm going to build a white, because this is just repeating the same thing over and over. I'm not going to do the whole white. That'll drive you guys to sleep. Okay, so now what I would do is I just do the same thing. I find a good chunk here, or I try to find another eye. This was fine. What I like about it is this has got a really nice little bit of these veins that are close to the eyes. Those are sharp. But I also have found this other eye. These are the two best eyes out there that are, I think I should say those, but then you wouldn't have to go through the process. Yeah. Every time I want to open a file on my computer because I work at the university and on my machine, it's always looking for the server that I work with. It's always a delay. It never goes to the file. That's why it's still doing the same. Okay. It's not crashing. So this eye was this other one, okay? Now, this had really interesting, I really like this, because look how much nicer those are. That's a really huge piece of that. That's really good. So, it's blue, and you're going to notice that too. The guy talks about it in the tutorial. Just like the fat, and the muscle, and the bone, and the cavity in the face, we've got different shades of color that are going into our eye. And it's blue, and notice it gets a little more yellow. Right? It's interesting. And obviously it has to do with blood and greater veins and all of that. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab this chunk and take it over to my other. I don't know about you, this iris does not seem legit. I don't think I've ever seen an eye like that. It seems wrong. Doesn't it? You ever see the one with this? It did, same.
The other one looks like yellow.
Yeah, weird. Why is it weird, man? So now I know why scanning would be interesting, but you can really see the reflectivity of the eyelash on this one. So again, this one revealed something greater that that other one didn't. So again, when we're going to set the properties of it, like how do you say, sometimes you look at it when you have to make your own, okay, it's different than following someone that tells you to set the dial to 23. When you have to evaluate it, this is telling. Because that would really, I would get up on my eye, I would put a black line here and test just how reflective when I was testing it rendered to get it so that much transparency to try to use this as a guide when you are hand setting your stuff. That's the problem with tutorials, is you try, there's a certain amount of I just do what you're telling me to do, which is fine. But I want to cultivate understanding, because then you don't ever need the tutorial. Full understanding. So I'm going to come in here, and I might just take as much of this as possible, to be honest. This is pretty damn good. I think I've looked at it before, but... So I'm going to grab this and carry this over here. Much larger. Wow, much larger. I want to... So let's go. Well, I lied. I'm going the opposite direction. I'm going to scale up instead of scale down. I'd rather not scale that down and scale it back up. So I'm going to take all of these and move these over here. And I'm going to use this stuff. Now, I'm not going to totally delete that file because there's still a really great vein I could grab from that. A really good vein. And so that would be a nice one to grab. This person, I think, might have been partying. This is a little bit of a party going on right in here. You gotta be swimming. Most likely a party. And again, I'm not being too anal about it because I have a soft edge. This isn't absolutely unforgiving. For the most part, you always have a little bit of playroom as long as you soften that edge. And that makes for nice transitions. Now, a place where you might pay for that is when we convert this to grayscale and create a bump map. It's amazing the things that the computer sees that you do not see. And it really reveals it when you convert it to a different type of file. And you look at it, wow, there's a hell of a lot more information there than when it was color. Alright, so that you can really see how shady that sphere was. It really wasn't a very great sphere. Weird eye. Now I'm going to scale this up. And I'm almost being able to match it right up. That's great. That's the benefit. Sweet. Now I just got to fix what's going on down here. So it even acts as a guide for me, to be honest. Telling me exactly where I need to fix my stuff. And so there's a nice blend between the original and the other image here. So maybe, yeah. Okay, so I don't care about this other stuff except for I did something when I built mine which was different than when the guy did his. I actually came down here and went, well shit, that color that on the back of the eye, it looks like that meat right there. It really does. And so I copied that, paste that, and then scale that up pretty massive. And then I don't have to compare. Then I know I get a good color that really came from the meat of something. And so I just used it and made it massive. And it's even veiny, right? So they can benefit from that. So I just came in and was like, started just leaving those, and then I eventually erased them. Duplicated it. You don't really use a lot of that meat, the more you'll start to understand, because using that surface projection is a little bit different than the UV for a polygon. And so it doesn't use nearly as much as the edge when it is projected. And so there's a difference between projection and the ramp, which you'll notice in the tutorial. There's the ramping function where the guy actually uses like a texture base and turns it into a ramp, which what it does is it's bonkers. So instead of a straight on, it's wipe this out and not go with that colorization right there. I'm going to use this whole side and build it and then put my own faded color. So, because I don't want this uneven, because the thing is, when the eye turns, you know, and depending on how old you are, oldness has a whole lot to do with how red your eyes are and how dry. So the younger you are, the nice bright and white your eyes are, you have nearly as many visible veins. Another thing to take into consideration is the age of your character and how much is it target. That's kind of the two things. So I'm going to just sample this chunk. Copy paste, try to put that on the other side, or I'll just start working it around. Same method. It's just all a big repeat at this point. You just keep repeating. It's about how much finesse do you have when it comes to, you know, how soft are you with the brushes, because that makes all the difference. You know, and I'm going to work that all the way to the edge. And again, I don't. This is pretty damn good, almost all the way around. Now, you know, the veins, yeah, this vein could probably be turned so it went more towards, straight towards it. To do that. I don't know how much it matters. I mean, when you look at my eye that I had made, I'll show you where I ended up. So one other thing we're going to have to try to do is we have to test handing it in. Have you guys, I would like you guys all at least today to try to upload a file. You can upload your base, just so we can get that worked out of how file, if I got your permission set properly, so that you can actually put things in somewhere. Because that's the problem I'm going to deal with as I'm setting up the angle course. Oh, here's an interesting example of that unwrap, the way that it unwrapped. So, in my eye, when you look at my eye, look, I got veins kind of like going all over. You can see that if I wanted to, I'd come in and maybe straighten this one out and make it point this way. This one actually kind of works. Some of them, you know, you can tell it's not totally real. But from right there, you don't really know. And you really don't. So I would continue on this little path here, prepping in. You get used to Maya's undo where you don't have to push Control V.
Yeah.
See, now my world is messed up, and sometimes I'm pushing Z.
You could zoom.
Yeah, it's so annoying, man. It's like, oh, stick to a convention, folks. Because every other app on the planet does it that way. Now, I'm really just trying to be conscious of these side veins. That's why I don't want to, that's just that little bitty detail. Will it probably matter in the end? Probably not. But I try to make it the best I can as I'm working on it. This is not as nice probably as the last one I made, because I had more veins. And this is where this other iris would need to be fixed. So the quick and dirty of it is now I just duplicate this and just move it over and eliminate the crack. Just go around like just scan. Same process, rotate it, repeat. Substantially better than the last one. Actually, I like the veins when the veins are working better in this one than my last one. Okay, so you get the idea. I always kind of make sure that I don't have anything messing with this edge. This is kind of shitty every year. I would spend more time really working that edge. It's absolutely important. So now I can turn this on, and I just make my brush just massive, and it's soft all the way. And I will duplicate this first, just to have a backup, and then I add a little bit more there. It's not bad. I mean, it's kind of shitty, so it doesn't make it perfect, but it's quick and dirty. That's how quick, right? Pretty damn quick. So, that's for the color map. Okay? So now if I'm going to make the bump map, I'm going to turn off that. Okay? And, I mean, I could leave it on, but it affects my grayscale. I'm going to save it because I kind of like it. Oh, every time I want to access the hierarchy. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to just show you how to make a specular map. Bump map and then the specular map. And we'll make it all from that one. And you just repeat the same things when it comes to how you deal with the iris. Same treatment. Exactly the same. But you don't have to make a specular map because, again, the tutorial explains how to actually use procedural maps and how to do that. So, okay, so yeah, it's kind of shitty. But I don't care, I'm just going to leave it. So I'm going to flatten it. Now, here's where what we're going to want to do is we want to just turn it to black and white. Now, the thing is, nothing in the center means anything to me because that's where a hole is. Right? The iris is its own object. So I'm only concerned with what's going on the wall. Now see, okay, so you see what happened with this dark tone on the outside? The problem with this is that it was the color red, which is almost a medium gray. And then, so that's why I was turning that off, because this is false bump. It took color information, and that's not really surface information. So I'm going to back up and make sure I turn that off, because I want just the black one. And this gives me a fine bump. And you know what? Unless you've got a weird freaking creature that can spin its eyes around and show the back of the eyes, no one's ever going to see that. So you're really only mostly concerned with as far over as you can look around to make realism. Yes, we can fix the back. Yes, we can do muscles on it. It would be a different approach. I'm just quick and dirty. Again, don't overdo it. Just do what you need to get things done. And so I'm now going to flatten it and redo that. And then I have this chunk in the center, but I can only rubber stamp. So now I'm going to just desaturate, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to invert it. So I know I'm really hockey oriented, so if
modify.
Humidity adjustment? Yeah, thanks, sir. I have to keep everything. Okay, so I need those veins to be white. But keep in mind, we don't want to go overboard because the smaller the veins, they're about a middle gray. And black is what we want white to be. We want that to be black. Meaning the white of the eye, I want that to be black. I want what's coming forward to be ultimately white. And the beauty is I can always massage the level value on that bump and massage. So now I'm going to go in and use levels. I don't know how you guys do it, but this allows you to adjust the darks, mediums, and the highs. And so this has got a 0 value of white because white starts right here. So I'm going to pull this, and I should zoom in. And not concerned whatsoever with what's going on over here. Mostly what's going on right here. And that's what I want to pay attention to, because I don't want to blow that out. I want to make sure these are nicer, softer tones. I always massage it, because I could do that. Look at how much information is there. You just don't see that in the photo. It's crazy. So there's a ton. So you know what? You use this for so many things that I could make a brush for alligator skin or for some kind of other creature's weird skin. I could use that. It's a really nice sample. But I want to basically only give it bump primarily for veins. But I'm going to get this residual awesome stuff too. Alright. So I'll work with that, that's fine. Now I'm going to paint the center black. Or I can just leave it the way it is. The problem is that's going to affects the outside of the ball. Because remember, it goes out. I don't want to have crazy bumps on that. I want a subtle bump on that. So this might have been handy for me to have the old one. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to bring in pieces of the last one so that I know exactly where I want that edge. So I should have probably painted it before, but this is a world where I have undos, so it's not good. I'll just reload after I name this one, reload the other one. I did get penalized for accessing my drive. It's the first thing. Okay. So I'm going to get my base one that I was working with after that. So here's some new one. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and try to paint a square, the circle as best I can in this area. And I mean, if I had the separate iris, shoot, I just activate this as the selection and just fill it. And just be like, oh yeah, I already got that taken care of, because I would have taken the time to make a really nice iris. But I'm not doing it for the sake of time, because it'll bore you guys. You get the idea. So I'm just going to say fill with black. And then I'm just going to drag that and drop it over here. If you hold down Shift when you go from one document to the other, it pastes it in the exact same location. It's a handy little hotkey. So I use this to paint my interior bump that's on the lens. Now that guy had some other stucco, fine, whatever. It's cellular, so think cellular is how you paint it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make white. And I'm not really, ultimately, I'm just looking for decent spacing. I just want something that's somewhat disruptive. So even if I get some of this obvious like this, that kind of sucks. because that's very unnatural. But some of this area over here, I got like this very cellular-like approach. And yes, you could use procedural maps, but it would be very tedious and kind of annoying. There's a lot of ways to do things. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to find an area right in this, somewhere in here. Let's scale it up and just erase it around it. Oh shit, I actually put that on top of mine. I don't want to do that. So unfortunately, forget it. I don't care. I'll just drag it on. The reason why I can actually use that to clean the other edges so I don't have to do a lot of work. So I have that on black. I'm going to scale it up. You know about this, if you hit the chain and then you touch the H, any label, and you can get a value. I just learned that one this year. I was pretty happy about that one. It's always been annoying sitting here going in here, making that active, holding shift, and then pushing the plus key. Or that was the other way that I did it. So I'm just looking for something that's big enough to cover that whole circle evenly without too much blobbing. So somewhere in here, I'm just going to keep increasing it. Decent. Select inverse. I do hotkey, use the inverse flag. I can do this where I invert it again. Again, you could just do it by hand with an eraser, or you can just soften the selection using modify smooth, probably like 20, and then erase again. Oh, select invert. And then the more I click that to soften the edge, evenly, I didn't have to work on that before. So that's way too harsh. It just is barely there. But it has to be there because you want to disrupt the reflection and the specular dilate just enough. Because if you don't, it looks like it's the glass eye. Because when you look at that eye in my eye example, it looks way more organic in my the one that I rendered out, wherever that is. So I'm just going to bring this way down. It's barely there. You can't even see it very well. But on my screen it's just a couple of values. Barely there. Maybe the way that you can see it here just so it shows right. This is the way that it appears. That right there is what it should look like on your screen, but it's a hell of a lot. It's way too bright on my monitor. You want on your screen, you want it to look about that subtle. So I literally, it's at 3% opacity, but it's enough. Okay. So that's my bump. And so I say that, save it as a bump. Okay. Now, just the other thing, some of you might experience this when you're working through this tutorial because it just, I don't know if you work with nerds. If you work with nerds, it won't be crossing. But if you don't, it's a little bit of it's also a wonderful new thing that I learned about easy baking. Way fast, easy bake. All the textures go in the slots. It's super rad. So I just want to show you that, and then I'm going to turn you loose and we'll walk around and talk. So I don't know how long it will take for my mind to start up. Again, that's my eyeball. But you notice, I want you to look right in here. bit less. But in this area, over the lens, it's smoother. It doesn't have the veins. So that's why I limited that area and just put that subtle bump in there. Because I wanted to just a little bit disrupt it. And you see it. If you actually animated it where the eye was looking, you'd see it go smooth right over the cornea, right at the opening, smooth, and then the highlight breaks when you get to the edge. That's like reality. Okay. And the reason why you want to do this texture baking is you need to stop it from being projected. Because when it uses projection, it consumes cycles. And you'll notice that it bogs the machine down. Because it's updating every freaking second because it's a dynamic projection. So once it bakes it, it becomes a texture map. And it no longer is demanding on the processor in the way that the projection wants. So that might be something as you're building that you're like, you might want to just be aware of. So I'm mentioning that. Couple things here. I'm going to talk a little bit about better lighting. Some of you might already know about. It's super freaking easy about putting the HDR in the rendering slot, and then you get amazing lighting instantly, like just instantaneously. And so that's all I did is I threw an HDR map when I'm in the render. So I'll show that. If you don't know, if you do know, then you know. And just show the difference between the two lighting systems. I'm not going to go too deep into exposure and all that control, but the idea is, go ahead and Max doesn't have this super sweet option that I really love. It's this IPR render. It's so nice.
If you hit escape, it'll stop rendering.
Oh, right, if you don't. Right. That's another interesting thing. Is that it won't, if I select another window, if I don't go back up here to render, you probably already know this. This is just me learning more about the quirks of the machine, a lot of the software. So anyhow, this is my finished eyeball, and I'll just show you a real quick rendering thing. I'm not going to go into every setting. It's just the beauty is they used to actually make you set every single setting. When Mentor came out, at least 3 versions of it, you had to calibrate all of the settings. And now you just go, oh, hey, what's the quality? I want to do the production or rev. It's super sweet. And yeah, there's fine tuning. And the more you learn about that, the better things will be. But it's so nice for the user now where I could just say, I just want to go from draft to production. So lighting-wise, I just put it in the image-based lighting system. And you can download HDRI maps. I should have them in my folders for the software. They should be all over the place. But maybe when I download it, I didn't download that. So I don't have all the stock ones that they came with the software. I know they give you like 100 of them. I used to have them. So I downloaded one. Now just the difference is I can say create, I want to delete this, and you'll see just the difference in the lighting. What? And what this is the daylight system. Try this on your head. Big difference. Try this on your head when you go to. So right now, you can either just use the standard lights, which is just with nothing. But you're going to get a better look if you throw an HDRI in there. You really start to go, wow, it feels sweet, it's real. This looks alright, but it doesn't have anything to reflect. So get in an HDR image and throwing it in this image-based lighting slot is essential. So get one that's got a bunch of details in it, right? Let's get one that's got a landscape. And you know what? I'll post mine up to the web, but if you find one cool, experiment with it. I'll put mine up on the website in that head folder on our ink. So look at the difference here. I should say that. When I go ahead and say create, over here, locate it, mine's on the desktop. I'm going to pay a price for that, about 15 seconds. Whoa. Oh yeah, I really do love the network people that keep my computer safe and all that, but boy, the permissions are really a drag sometimes. Okay, so I think that's a Rudy drive-in. Bam. And now it's going to put that in there, and you'll see right away the difference in the render. Now this isn't my perspective view, so I'm not getting that. I just get it actually in my reflections. And another thing is it's really blowing it out. That's just the default. If I were to, I could grab this, the game, this is the color, and watch what's going on in the background here. Watch this, it'll affect that. And you'll notice it is blowing things out where the sky's way too light. So the more I bring that down, you're not seeing it in the hardware exposure because hardware exposure is just as viewed for. So this is affecting the render right here. This is only for the hardware. So you see what that setting is. And there's a parallel here. So that just kind of gives you an idea that's already dusk. But I'm going to bring this down, and then let me do this. It should be better. And so I don't get it's not blown out as much, right through here. And it's still a little bit. So see the difference? So if you want your eye to look really, really sweet, you want to slap a HDRI in that indirect lighting slot. I'll try to find a tutorial and throw that up there, just how to set up HDRI. That's pretty damn easy. But I understand that I got to move around from the jump. So that's setting that up. Now I'm just going to look at my slots to give you an idea. Finally really starting to really get comfortable here of how to navigate around. Max and the material layer is so interesting and different in that way. So now, where's the bump setting here? This is nice too, that I actually can just get the full list. So my bump is at, I played with this for so many times, so again, it's all about what's going to determine that value is what did you do your levels at in Photoshop when you did your bump map? How far did you push the whites and the midtones? Mine, I took it literally, anything above this gets to be a way too unnatural. So unbelievable was my bump map. Again, that had to do with how contrasting my bump map was. All right, so this really cool thing that I'll just show you may already know, but it's pretty damn sweet, is this will create a baked texture version of the map. And I think Marty, no, I'm not using it. So I select the eyeball, I come over, and then I select the eyeball texture, and then you say, convert file to texture. And I just want to make sure, okay, so here's what's interesting. This baking idea is, if this was going to go to a game engine, I would bake all this shit. Because you're getting all the content, depending on the situation. But, for the most part, I bake all of it in there because I'm getting the highlights, I'm getting the reflection, I'm getting all that stuff. And that's rad. It makes it look more real. Granted, you walk up to it, you don't see a reflection of yourself, you're like, but from a good distance, it looks sweet. And so they're saying more things. I don't see occlusion in here, ambient occlusion, dirt maps, all that stuff. That we can bake in other ways. But yeah, you just set it. You want to. The only thing that isn't by default is you want to make sure you get the resolution on this up to a pretty good size, so that I would look at the original size of my original texture and just make it match. I just do that in there for just you. So here's what's up. is when we do this, it's interesting what that texture looks like after. It's not nice and flat and friendly like it was, because that's a planar projection that's projected onto it. So the back is the same as the front when it's being projected. As soon as I do this, it makes it a texture, okay, and it's wrapped. So I'm gonna just make it. Yeah, tip is uncompressed. I'm just gonna make it JPEG so it doesn't save over my other. Probably will. So I'm gonna say convert to close. Ooh, select or highlight the issue. Must have I did control, so I didn't actually hit shift. What was going on with that? Man, so it's going to take a minute because it's taking it, and it really takes it when you do it with, when we work on rendering a multi-pass layer, multi-passes. So it takes a minute. And this thing is going to kick out the bump and the color map separately, but it totally unwraps it in a completely different way. So it's only good if you wanted to fix the back. So the guy, he'll even talk about that in the tutorials at the front. When you rotate your eye after you're building it with projection, once you get to 90 degrees, you'll notice it's repeated on the back. Well, we can fix that now with the bake, because the bake creates the hole, and then you could go in and rubber stamp the back. So if we wanted to see the back, and not have it be the same on the front, we could fix it. But when you see this map, you're like, good thing I only got to paint this back, because it doesn't make any logical sense anymore, essentially, because it unwraps in such a lot of way. Same way, like if you've ever seen ZBrush straight out of the can, it's a bunch of tries. It's crazy looking. You can't make any sense out of it, but software knows. So now I have it, but look, it actually built this texture now and assigned it. It's no longer using my base eyeball. So if you want to work with your original maps that are projected from the front, don't delete this. Do not delete this. This is the core. That's all this. And then this eyeball doesn't have nearly the nodes. Doesn't have a projection node anymore. So it's not eating up all those cycles. So much better now. Because we're at that point. We've gone to the point where we're ready to get ready to package it up and then move it over into our head. Right? But you want to do that. So the beauty is now I never had this map before, and this was actually a ramp that's used for transparency, and then I have the bump. It did not render a specular or a reflecting. So now I'm going to go back to my Photoshop that I closed. And we're just going to look at those maps, and we'll fix them. We'll fix the problems. And they may, again, they're not going to be absolutely amazing. I have strategies for working with it, but again, it's unwrapped in a very strange way. It would make a wonderful piece of art. A lot of art can be made from all these textures that have faces that are flattened out and everything. You can see it a lot. So now watch what these look like. They're crazy looking compared to what we started with. There, that's the bump. What? So where are we at? That's one actually I messed with last night. Here's the color map. Yeah, there it is. I'm not exactly certain which is the front and which is the back. I think this might be the front. This is the front on the right. Because the reason why I know that, and I'll tell you why. You're like, how do you know? Instead of just saying, trust me, I'm going to show you. Oh, after 50 something. So that ramp that I use for the transparency, that is part of the tube, it's a dynamic way of setting transparency, got exported too. So that tells me orientation. So it's right where you at here, buddy. So I don't want to touch this stuff. What I might want to do here is just kind of fix these problems and then paint all this out. So I could either just come in here and just make that all white and say I don't want any, pink edges, or I could just sample this in the same way. Rubber stamp. I just rubber stamp it. Just come in here. And that's going to start fixing that. So if I load that back, it's going to load that back in once I say reload, and we'll be able to rotate that eye around and see the back side of it and I'll fix some of the problems. So it's an interesting way of going at it. But again, this is like what's going on with nerves. So I don't mind learning more and more about nerves because why not? Right? There's major benefits to them, but I've just always avoided them because you don't use nerves when it comes to video games and things like that. Don't really ever have it. But in this instance, this won't be the first time. When I used to download eyes, they always came the same way. They were always nerves. So there's something about the eye that people always make it out of nerves. Just trust that. I've always just, downloaded it. But now I know how to hold it. Okay, so then same here. We could just put a big X chunk of this at this point. You could move it around and rubber stamp it. And it's all about how you want to finesse it. But I'm just kind of lazy, so I'm just going to do it like this. I guess I can just pull it back, and then it could fix that back side of it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to save that out.
Why are we bothering to get rid of it if it's not visible?
Why?
Yeah. I mean, if we're just going to put anything else there, then why is it not okay that another iris is there?
It is okay. I'm just showing you how to manipulate that.
Okay.
And what it means and what happens.
Fair enough.
In the event that maybe you say, you know what? You do something for Halloween. I'm going to use that eye that I built. So I just showed you if you ever use it again. The top back of the eye. For us, we're not going to need it. Okay. But I'm just giving you a little bit of time. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
And then you would do the same for the bump. Same deal. Dare I say you may even just use this again to remake the bump because we now tweak this. There's no way you're going to repeat this the same way on the bump. So you may actually consider making a bump out of this. It's the same unwrap. So I'm going to go ahead and say save as, and then when I replace it, it'll totally do this deal. I'll just reload it. Yes. Keep it large. And so we'll be able to do this cluster reload. Booyah! You can see it right there, right quickly. And then I'm going to come in here and look at the back side here. Fix it. Yeah, the bump. So that's basically all that's going on right there with that eye. Some of the stuff that could be a little bit squirrely that you might be surprised by. Again, I was surprised at the performance of the projection and was happy to discover that baking process. Super awesome. So think of it as, when you have to delete the history sometimes on your object because the stack gets way too big, starts again affecting process. Think of this as the same way. You can load if you load your materials up so they're just so dynamic all the time, eventually you're going to pay a price for that. And that's how you bring it back to a manageable, at least a first wave of something that's manageable. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go around and I want to see where you guys are in your project. Real quick, if anybody's got need for me immediately, please ask me. Okay. All right, well then that takes care of that. Yeah.